Hello and welcome to the Geek on My Sleeve channel, where we do spoiler-free book reviews and live weekly book discussions every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. In this video, we are going to be doing a spoiler-free review of Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata, originally published in Japan and translated by Ginny Tapley Takamori. I am pleased to have Dr. Natasha Arora here to talk about this amazing book with me. Veteran of at least 3 Geek Out streams. One of my favorite people to geek out with over books. Thanks for suggesting this book to me. Natasha, how you doing?
Good. I am glad we could talk about it. It was a quick favorite.
Yes, yes. It is a quicker read. It comes out to 163 pages and audio format.
3.5 hours. It's good and short and sweet.
It's a good story. Didn't feel like it left anything hanging. Still a lot of good content in there, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting how at the beginning it started with stories in her childhood, and then obviously, as the title suggests, through Convenience Store Woman,
Yes.
and it touches on so many aspects of life. And like, I don't feel like things were glossed over. There was enough detail.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it talked about
Mm-hmm.
her relationship with her sister, her relationship with her
Yes.
coworkers. Get a sense for like her family life in different ways,
Yes.
her interaction with kind of her neighborhood and people around her, and no, it's very well done.
It really helped kind of set us up to understand where she was in her life, kind of those little snapshots from her childhood. She says it herself that she wasn't a normal kid and really struggled, like a lot of us, to try to see where she fit in. I don't believe at any point they really come out and give her like a label or a diagnosis, but her family always kind of talked about how she was strange, and you certainly see her miss a lot of those social cues. Again, there's no label, but I have a number of people in my life personally that fall on the autism spectrum, and I certainly saw a lot of those characteristic traits for her, missing the social cues. Like when she got to the convenience store, I remember her talking about during her training how excited she was that for the first time somebody actually taught her how to display the proper facial expressions and respond appropriately.
So on that comment, there's 2 points that come to mind. One is when she started and they had a manual.
Hmm.
And she's like, for once, there's a manual of what to do and what people expect. And it seemed that that allowed her to thrive. And there's so many times in life where I wish there was a
Yeah,
manual,
don't we all?
right? Luckily, where some basic things like I got a puppy a year ago, so like there's more or less a manual
Hmm.
for that,
Hmm.
right? One of the few things, and it was really interesting how that made something easier for her as
Hmm.
someone who struggled with kind of fitting in and knowing what to do and what was acceptable. Literally having that manual, you walk in the door, you do this, you
Yes.
say this, and having people like demonstrate it for her.
Hmm.
It's really interesting. I know at one point she was going through and commenting about, I'm probably 30% this coworker and 10% this coworker, and I learned my mannerisms about anger from this coworker.
Hmm.
And it was really interesting because I was reflecting too on that point that we all do that.
Yes.
Like, you are who you hang out with in so many ways, not just your actions and your what hobbies you pick up, what movies you watch, what books you read.
Hmm.
Thank you for any recommendations, but also how you talk and how you respond to things. So, in some ways, she was not normal,
Hmm.
but in other ways, there are these things that almost everybody faces.
Hmm.
And it was nice to kind of see that in a very tangible way.
Yeah, like you said, we're a collection of the people around us and the things we surround ourselves with. And that's one of the many things I enjoy about reading is, and I've heard other people mention it before, the empathy you get from kind of seeing the world through their eyes. I feel like this is a really good book for that, just to kind of like travel along with her as, you go through her childhood and she just feels out of place and tries to navigate. Such a good story, and the convenience store for her kind of gives her a place where she finally feels like she fits in and belongs. And isn't that what we all want to some degree, to kind of find our place where we
Yeah.
click and belong?
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's funny because I think she just kind of happened upon it. And that's what happens to a lot of us.
Mm-hmm.
You searching for what you think you want, and then turns out, oops, it was over there. You just have to pay attention to what brings you that joy and that kind of sense of belonging that so many of us are looking for.
Yeah, it's a really good read. Um, I think especially in our current time, at the point when we're filming this here in the US and across the globe, we're all experiencing changes in the quote new norm due to the coronavirus. And just to have this semblance of normal as we see a convenience store worker deal with everyday challenges of just trying to fit in and just deal with life.
That's one reason that the current circumstances is what prompted me to reach out to you about this book, because so many of us right now are eating really weird, are shopping in weird places.
Yes.
Like, I've been bunkered down and like not leaving my apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And before I did that, I was like, well, where can I find more instant mashed potatoes? Where can I find more whatever it is, like things I don't normally buy, but in
Mm-hmm.
these circumstances I wanted. And of course, the big stores were all busy or out of things,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was stopping at convenience stores and local corner stores, and I learned a lot about my neighborhood, which was awesome. Um, but there are so many parallels when I listened to this book again, where there was a point where she got scolded by the manager for not knowing her neighborhood. I was like, oh, yeah, I didn't get scolded, but like I discovered a couple new shops that I'm definitely going to be visiting again.
Yes.
This calms down and I go out, shopping again. So that part was really interesting, but also how we're just eating differently. And
Mm-hmm.
she takes so much pride in being a convenience store worker, and how her body is made up of, her body is basically the convenience store, because it is made up of everything from the convenience store. She eats and drinks food that is purchased at the convenience store and nothing else. I was like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah. And breathes and
that's
lives, and everything about her life is for the convenience store. While we're kind of along that train of thought, that relates into kind of what you do with Each Treats and Parsnips, right? Helping people overcome these food challenges.
very much. Yeah, that's something I've been doing a lot more of these days, because people are eating weird, and they have these ingredients where, they bought what they could. And, I had a woman reach out who's like, I have so many oats. I don't know what to do with all these oats. Like, okay, let me get back to you with some suggestions. And then there's somebody else who's like, what do I do with spam? I'm like, oh, that is like an age-old question.
Wow.
Let me try to make this better. But actually, it ties in with the Japanese origins of this story. A foodie friend of mine was inspired to make like I'm gonna butcher this. I'm sure it has a proper name, but it's like a Japanese spam sandwich. So you like
Interesting.
saute a slice of spam with some like soy sauce and other seasonings, because it's spam, right? And then you make like sticky rice or like sushi rice.
Okay.
And then there's this certain little mold that I'm sure goes with like the proper name for this sandwich. And you put a layer of this rice,
Mm-hmm.
and then this mold, and then you put the slice of spam, and then you put more rice and maybe like a little sauce or something, and you like smash it so it like stays compressed. and then you wrap the whole thing in a piece of nori or seaweed, and then it becomes this like apparently relatively delicious from what I could
Interesting.
sandwich. I was like, well, if you're at the right convenience store, you could probably buy all that stuff. Especially in the US now, like these seaweed snacks are trendy, so I'm sure you could find seaweed snacks. You could find some like
Yeah.
microwavable rice. You may or may not find those little mold things. I don't know how common they are. Definitely find spam.
Yeah.
Maybe some soy sauce, and there you're good to go, right? Like dinner from a convenience store.
I know at least here, shelving, what's on the shelf is kind of hit or miss in the store, and it sounds like some of those items might be a little bit easier to find than the typical staples that everybody's reaching out and stocking up on. So, yeah, we'll make sure to include some of Dr. Natasha Aurora's links down below. If you have a food challenge that you would like her to help you overcome, if she can create interesting recipes out of spam, we'll see if you can find anything she can't help you with. So,
I sure will
yeah,
try.
challenge accepted. This book is not a genre I typically delve into, but I certainly enjoyed it. It's a quick read. I really enjoy the lessons and takeaways from this story. Don't want to ruin the ending, but she went through a lot of challenges and kind of just struggles to fit in. And I felt, at least for me, it came to a good closure.
Yeah, it was a nice little wrap up, but not in a way that is expected either.
Hmm.
Like it fits well, it feels good,
Yes.
but it's not like I was reading it and saying, "Oh yeah, this is gonna happen," and then this, and then the, okay, why did I bother reading the last 10 pages? It
Right.
wasn't that kind of ending at all, but it left me with that feeling of, okay, story's done.
Yes.
She's moving on into whatever the next chapter of her life is.
Yes. Yes. It stopped at a good point. It wasn't unbelievable where, she no longer had some of her social challenges, but we got closure. She was in a good spot.
One of the things that I liked about the book is that the whole thing was relatable.
Hmm.
Like, I've never worked in a convenience store. I'm obviously not Japanese. I actually have never been to Japan. I would love to, have not had the opportunity.
Same here.
Um, there's so many things where like it's not me. I wasn't that little kid at the beginning. In the end, the whole thing, I was like, yes, I can understand and relate to this challenge and that challenge and how that would be really nice to have. And it really, like you mentioned, the empathy component
Yes.
was very high through the whole book. And I
Yes.
think especially in the times of this coronavirus and all of us kind of reaching for a little more empathy and compassion and just understanding what other people are going through. You know, the world got bigger and smaller at the same time. And I think this is a good book for this time.
Absolutely, and well said. It's an amazing read. We both highly recommend you check it out. We'll include some links below to learn more. At this time, I don't believe we will be doing a Geek Out session over this title. If it's something that people are interested in, throw a mention in the comments below. If you read the book, also let us know your thoughts down below. Hope to geek out with you guys here soon. Thanks, Tasha.